Right.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things when we step out of our comfort zone and we do something that stretches us in some way. I think if we do that with an intent, why am I doing this? What am I doing this for? What am I getting from it? And what do I want from it? Then that makes whatever we're doing of more value, if you like, and worth pushing ourselves through. But especially when it's something that you wouldn't normally do. And as I said, when you're doing that, I know I was talking to Patty today, and she's a distance runner, you know, and she used to hate running, she'd have said. But then she got into it and was determined to do at least 3 miles. And then one day she identified as that, you know, someone said, "What do you do?" She said, "I'm a distance runner." And that was when it hit her at an identity level. That's what she turned into. So I think when we push ourselves like that, and I'm not saying you have to do it, but there are things that we can do just outside. Doesn't have to be vast, just stretches us a little bit. And when we're doing it, it's just when you're in that kind of place of discomfort, just remind yourself, you can do this. You know, you can do anything. You can achieve anything. It's just about saying, this I can do, and finding a big enough reason to do it. Anthony Robbins, one of the things I remember him saying in one of his books, he said, if you can find a big enough why to, you can always find a how to. And I think that's a great kind of thing to say. Why am I doing this? When we have people join our JHA, Anthony asks the question, why this? Why now? Why do you want to do this now? And I think that's a good question to ask ourselves when we're pushing ourselves to do something. We're stretching ourselves slightly. Why do I want to do this? What's the outcome I want from it? You know, Nick and I run this self-hypnosis training, and we talk about the end state. You know, feeling into that end state. Why am I doing this? What's the reason for me to put myself in this space of discomfort for a period of time? And I said, for me, that cold plunge now, as mad as it seems, has turned into something I actually look forward to. And that feeling of that meditative state that Nick was talking about, when you disappear as a in your physical self, and you're in that space, no longer affected by the discomfort, but in a space of just thinking. And that I have to say, it can be a bit addictive, that feeling. So yeah, it's just a thought. We were just talking about that. So
Freddie, that brings to mind how most of us, you know, you talk about that first stage of discomfort when we do something new. Most of it's in our head before we ever get started, right? And if we would act on it quickly, we would get enough momentum that the mental chatter and the discomfort in our minds would dissolve. And I think one of the most important things, and then we'll kind of get started on our topic here, but is momentum. And so if you're like, oh, I'm going to take a cold shower, or I'm going to run today, or I'm going to, you know, do something new, you don't have to go run a marathon. You can say, I'm going to go run around the block. And most of the time you run around the block, and just that going from inertia to having momentum carries through so that you can go run a couple miles. You know, 10 seconds in cold water, you get enough momentum that you can do 30, or you can do a minute. And, you know, if you're hypnotizing somebody, you don't have to go change their entire life yet. Go, you know, do the finger lock and try that out, and give yourself permission to take that first step and get momentum. And once you get momentum in one area, it tends to continue. Bodies in motion tend to stay in motion, right?
You're absolutely right. It's about starting. You know, we all think, well, I want to achieve this, and tomorrow I'll start tomorrow. But, you know, it's one of the things, tomorrow never comes, does it? You know, you just think, I'll put it off. Before you know, a week's gone by. I remember listening to Zig Ziglar, this kind of motivational guy, before Tony Robbins and all the others. He's probably around in the 1970s or 80s. I can't remember now. But he said, I wanted to lose some weight. He said, so I went to a doctor. And the doctor said, I wanted to lose whatever the weight was. He said, well, all you have to, he said, that's like, you've got to lose 2 ounces a day to get to, you know, 2 ounces a day for this period of time for you to get to where you wanted to go. And he said, so I thought, that's so easy. He said, I didn't start for a week. You know, so it's one of those things, you know, you have to start now. And just do the first thing, do the first step. And even if it's like put your foot in cold water for a start, but start, that's the main thing. As Nick says, once you start, you get that momentum and then it's easier. It's like, imagine like pulling a bus. I don't know. You see those strong men. Have you ever seen them? They have pulling a bus or a truck. And that first bit of effort to get the wheels moving to start off with. But once those wheels are moving, providing they keep moving, they can pull that truck. But it's that initial tug that once the bus is rolling, then they can get moving. It's the same with our goals and things like that. It's just about starting and saying today. And, you know, and you've heard me say about goal setting before, but what do you want? That's the big question. What do you absolutely want? Forget about realistically, I want this, or maybe that would be good. What do you absolutely want? So that's the first question. The second question is, what do I need to do to make that happen or create that goal? And most of us actually know those two questions. We know what we want. Whether it's a physical goal, career goal, emotional goal, financial goal, we know what we want. And generally, we know what we need to do to make it happen. But the third question is where most people fall down, not you, because you're here. You're here continually wanting to improve your life and improve your mind. But most people sit in their chair, watching people in the Olympics and think, I'd love to be as fit as that, while they're eating a bag of crisps and a bag of sweets. You know, that's not going to happen, is it? So the third question is the big question. What am I willing to do to create that life that I want? What am I absolutely willing to do? Because if you can answer those three questions and make that commitment, there is very little we cannot change. And I think Nick said it last week, but you know, I say it as well. Whatever you think you are far, far more than that. You're getting an experience of that as we go through these weeks, I'm sure. You're starting to understand that you don't have to have the limitations that were placed on you. You don't have to live with the limiting beliefs, the negative thoughts that are placed on you. They're not yours. You weren't born with those beliefs. At some point, someone, and sometimes it's done in kindness. It's not always done in malice. People don't want you to be upset or don't want you to feel like you failed. So they try and ease you into what they think your limitations are. But either way, it's been suggested to you. And sometimes it's self-suggested. We're going to talk about the imposter monster tonight, but sometimes it's self-suggested. But any of your limitations, any of them, were suggested to you or by you. Once you understand that, you can say, well, does that serve me any longer? Is this what I truly want? Is this my true self, my authentic self? And if not, you can decide to change that. And you can do it through these trainings that we're giving you here, getting an understanding. When you go into trance, think about what you want and go, okay, that's what I want. And ask, and this is crazy, I know, but ask your unconscious mind to make it happen for you and set a very clear direction, and you'll find yourself moving toward it without even thinking or trying. Once you've, like, we're talking about momentum, once you set your unconscious mind on an absolute goal, and it has to be absolute, it can't be a woolly goal. I want to lose some weight at some point in the future. That's not any good. It has to be very direct. You know, it's not, oh, well, I want to earn more money. It has to be, that's how much money I would love to be earning, or that's how much money I'd love to have. If you give your unconscious mind a very clear direction, it's like an exit missile. It will just go for it. But that's why I always say to my clients and to my students when I'm talking about self-hypnosis, be careful what you wish for, because your unconscious mind ultimately wants you to have what you're focused on. And so the other side of that is when you are setting your goals, feel into the outcome, feel into that end state, and ask the question, how much fun is this? How much fun can I make it? How important is it for me? Because I know, and I know, you know, some of my friends have done it. They've wasted years working toward a goal, only to find that when they get there, they're still not happy. You know, they say, when I've earned my first £1,000,000, I'll be happy. They strive for that for 3 or 5 years or whatever it might be. They get there and they're still unfulfilled. If they'd felt into the outcome at the beginning, they might have changed that goal to something that's more fulfilling. Do you understand what I'm saying? You know, if we have to, otherwise we just think, oh yeah, that's going to make me happy. And you could be working toward it for years and only to find that it's still left us empty. If we feel into the end state and we actually feel into it, what does this feel like to have achieved this? How do I feel? You know, and then ask that question, how much fun is this? And once we feel into it, and we're going to do it again tonight, once you feel into that end state and you actually get the physical feeling of how much fun it's going to be, how important is it for you? You don't have to get motivated every day. You don't need me or Nick or Tony Robbins to come along and motivate you, because in the back of your mind, you're being driven towards something you're going to enjoy. You know, a friend of mine said to me, we are geared toward pleasure. As human beings, we want to feel good. And if we know how good we're going to feel by stepping into our end state, everything then about your nature, your mind and your body is inclined toward making it happen. Because in the back of your mind, you know, that's going to make me feel good. So it's important when we're doing what we call future pacing, or when we're feeling into the end state, to ask that one question: how much fun is it? How much fun can I make it? How important is it for me? Because then you're geared toward doing it. So, you know, all of these things are all available to you. You know, I live a very easy life, really. Doreen will tell you. You know, and I refuse to worry about anything, which sounds a strange thing. I know for a lot of people, I think it's quite mad. I just refuse to worry about it, because I understand that whatever I'm worrying about in this moment is not real. It's my imagination. You know, the future hasn't happened. It can only be imagined. So I may as well imagine the best outcome. Either way, it's not real in this moment. But how I approach the future is totally dependent on how I'm imagining the outcome. If you imagine the best outcome, the worst case scenario is you can be disappointed. But if you are imagining, if you're imagining the worst outcome and it's stopping you, to put it the other way, if I imagine the best outcome, the worst thing that happens is I can be disappointed. But if I'm imagining the worst outcome, as I said to you earlier, your unconscious mind is like an Exocet missile. It will get for you everything you're focused on. And if all you're focused on is what you don't want, guess what? That's what tends to happen. So for me, I find life really easy. And it doesn't mean that I don't have the same trials that everyone else has. But I have stopped worrying about the things I've done, things I could have done, should have done, would have done, because I'm a man. And, you know, as men, we make mistakes and we mess up. But I've stopped beating myself up over those things, and I'm stopped worrying about the future. That leaves me in an incredibly awesome space of living in this moment. Doesn't mean I don't plan, but when I do plan, I plan for the best outcome and I imagine the best outcome. And your life will change the moment you start doing that. You catch yourself when that imposter monster in your mind saying you're not going to do this, you're never going to achieve that. Change it, because none of this stuff exists outside of your head except as perception. How we imagine things, how we imagine our life will change the way our future is.
Freddie,
You know, I'm going a bit of a rant here.
I explain hypnosis to the lay person, not to hypnotists, because they generally have a deeper understanding, but to the lay person, I explain it as focus and expectation. What you focus on becomes your reality, and what you expect, you tend to make happen. And so, you know, we'll tie in here to this imposter syndrome, because I think this is such a relevant thing for most people now who are, you know, especially like us, who are trying to put themselves out there and do some marketing and become established as experts is this feeling like we're being imposters, right? And like we're presenting that we're something we're not, because we know deep inside that we're not perfect yet, right? And how many of you have ever felt imposter syndrome? Where people look at you a certain way and you're like, oh, that's not me. And there's something inside of you that maybe stops you from putting yourself out there. So that's what we're going to work on today. And there's two things I want to start with. And then I think Freddie's going to do a really cool hypnosis process with you. Is first of all, I'm going to give you a little reframe on that imposter feeling, because I want you to make it your friend, because it is what is going to keep you motivated. It's what's going to keep you sharp. It's like a worthy adversary. It's like an opponent. And I remember one of my first talks I gave to a local business here. I was anxious for it for 4 or 5 days ahead of time, and that anxiousness, that worrying if I was going to succeed, actually drove me to really prepare, to really rehearse, to really visualize. And it made me put in the work to have a great performance. And so I did. If I didn't have that, I would have shown up and who knows what would have happened. I would not have put the work in. And so that feeling has to be what propels you forward instead of what holds you back. So everybody on board with that? Have you all experienced this, where in some cases it stops you from putting yourself out there, and in other cases it's what really makes you prepare and hone your skills? Because it's one of those two things, right? Life, there's this duality in life and in everything, and polarity. And so something like the feeling of imposter syndrome, we can wrangle that and use that energy to propel us forward, and other people, it'll stop them. And so that's what I want to start with. And then the second idea is your identity. So as Freddie was talking about, when you can feel into the end state of what it feels like to be that expert, that influencer, that hypnotist, that entrepreneur, that athlete, when you can feel into that, your subconscious mind locks onto that as a target. And it says, oh, I'm just that type of person. And when you start to believe I'm just that type of person, then you have no use for feeling like an imposter. And you'll still get that urge to like prepare for things and to be your best. But there's not a sense of I'm presenting something different than I truly am, because you start to feel and become what you imagine yourself to be. Have you all experienced this in your life in some area where you think I'm going to be Patty was talking about being a runner, where you start to imagine yourself being a runner, and then all of a sudden you become it. Start to imagine myself being a speaker, and all of a sudden I start to become it. And then when I go to speak, I get excited instead of anxious. My identity has shifted. And that's what comes from that end state, feeling into that end state. And while you're in that end state, you can say to your subconscious mind, this is the target. It already knows that. You don't really have to say it. But when you emotionalize it and you say, this is who I am, this is where I'm going, you'll find that imposter syndrome just drifts away, and you will completely forget that you ever had it. Like it won't resonate with you anymore. You'll just think, oh, this is the easiest and most obvious thing in the world. Freddie, what do you think?
That you're exactly right.
What do you think? Should we put him into that? Should we put him into that end state and
yes, you can take them there and then bring them back out.
Okay.
So they love to be hypnotized by both of us.
Okay.
I feel cheated if there's only one of us here. So you
All
hypnotize
right.
them all, set them all up so so they're totally ready to just flop when I say flop. They'll all
Perfect.
just go. All right, get them all set up.
All right. Is everyone clear on maybe an end state that they want to feel into and establish as a new identity for? You take a moment and think about that. Freddie and I do our a group coaching call every Tuesday, and one of the people on there, we had just gone over how to do this with them, and he says, "Oh, I just came back from this this seminar, and I was feeling anxious about it, and I had some social anxiety." And so we were both like, "Well, did you use the process we taught you last week on how to change that?" And he was like, "Oh, no, I guess I should have done that." So this is something you can apply in every situation in your life. And for me, I always teach it works best when you practice it ahead of time. So right when you get into the situation and you start to feel anxious, that's probably not the best time. You want to do it ahead of time in a relaxed state, step into that end state, step into that new identity, and let your subconscious mind know that's what you want, that's who you are, and that's where you're going. Everybody clear? They got your end state, your vision of who you are, who you're becoming. All right. Then you can start to get comfortable. We'll just do a short process here. So if you begin to allow that state, because hypnosis is just a state of allowing your subconscious mind to give you a new experience. And if you haven't yet, you can notice your eyes feeling heavy as you are still getting situated and comfortable. And sometimes people experience the feeling almost like there's sandbags in their eyes, making them so heavy and so relaxed. And you could imagine what it would feel like if you had a anesthesia applied around all the muscles in your eyes and your face. Completely relaxed. And imagine if that feeling of anesthesia was spreading through all the muscles in your neck, your shoulders, even down to your fingertips and your toes. And some people experience a feeling of heaviness in your hands. It may be getting stronger, or it may just slowly intensify with every word that I say. As you feel a sense of your body expanding into space. And some people, when they fall asleep completely and begin to dream, their body will go into a state of catalepsy where you can imagine vividly while your body is completely still. Get a sense of what someone might experience if they were in that state now. And you've created a vision of what you're becoming and of who you are. And all it takes is for you to imagine it clearly and vividly and experience it like it's already happening now. For your subconscious mind to completely lock on to that new target. And step into that end state. Step into yourself, your future self now. And begin to experience all of the little details of this end state. What does it feel like? What are the textures of it? What does it look like? What do you see? Now that you are everything you've wanted to become. What do you hear? What do you hear people saying to you and about you? What do you smell or taste? And imagine those sensations getting brighter and stronger, those feelings spreading through your entire body. And if there was a color associated with that end state, with this state, Imagine that color swirling around you like an energy field, protecting you, giving you more creativity, more insights, more power, deflecting any negativity. And now, and maybe most importantly, feel into the frequency of this state. Like you're a radio antenna tuning your vibration. Every cell, every molecule tuned into the frequency of this new way of being. Noticing all that you're capable of, everything that you've overcome, and all of those doubts and insecurities that you've left far, far behind. And just notice how good it feels. And imagine seeing yourself in a mirror. Notice what your body looks like, what your facial expressions look like, what your energy field looks like. And look at that reflection in the mirror. And notice what you love and appreciate about yourself. And feel that love and appreciation. Knowing that you are perfectly imperfect. And you move forward with effortless grace and ease and confidence. You are an example for everyone in your life of what is possible. And let this program lock into every part of you, every cell, every molecule, every fiber of your past, present, and future. Accessing this new frequency, this new way of being as you, through you, now. And as that program is running and locking into your system, as your subconscious mind identifies with this state, with this version of you, even stronger now, you can let that scene begin to fade. And just like one who is slowly waking from that cataleptic, dreamlike state, you can begin to wake up feeling the movements of your toes and your fingers, feeling a new breath in your lungs, a new energy, a new vibration. Seeing the world through different eyes, through a different perspective. Knowing now exactly what you're capable of. Ready to move through the world with confidence, with ease, with grace, with tons and tons of self-love. Ready to learn from everything that other people call mistakes, but knowing that those are just your step forward. And ready to persist until you succeed with joy and enthusiasm. As you begin to wake up now, your eyes can open whenever you're feeling ready, energized, relaxed, calm, and confident. That's right, coming all the way back now. Diana, slowly and surely waking up now. That's right, Diana, coming all the way back. I think we left her in the dream world.
Yeah.
We got a
She
couple
looks,
people still there. Maybe I should give them a little bit of time to mellow out here.
she looks so happy though. It's just I think we just best leave her for now.
Just a joyful bliss. Bar was gone for a moment too. She's back.
Well done.
I was gonna do a short one, but I kind of got ahead of myself there. So
Everyone appreciated it, so it's great.
yeah, Donald's got a big smile on his face. Just look at that.
Yeah, picture that is.
That's right. That's right.
All
All right.
right.
Well, with that, I'll hand it over to Freddie, and you can clean up my mess there, Freddie. How's that sound?
Well, you mean wake up the ones that are still out of it?
Yeah. No, just leave them. I did the hard work for you. They're still there.
Okay. Look, I hope you're getting the idea that whatever you set your mind on, if we feel into the end state and imagine that outcome, and then ask the question, how good does it feel? If we can feel into it, then everything about our bodies and minds are geared toward it. And understanding that all of those limitations that you've had were never yours in the first place. You've heard me say it, and I'm gonna do it again when you're in hypnosis tonight. You've heard me say it. You know, the core of your being is pure energy, light, and love. That is who you are. And anything that's not that is not you. And once you understand that, then you can let go of all of those limitations, knowing that they were never yours in the first place. There's a lot of advertising, especially in the hypno world at the moment, about how to earn this much money or that much money as a hypnotherapist. I think that we should be saying, how good would it feel to help 100,000 people, rather than say, how good would it feel to earn £100,000 a year or $100,000 a year? As nice as that would be, but if we come from that, what's our end state? What do we want to do? I know why Nick's here, and that's why we're working together. And that's why, you know, when he suggested we work together, I know where he wants to be. You know, he's got a plan, and he's still very young. I mean, he's probably just maybe just half my age. I don't know. But, you know, he's got a whole lifetime yet of helping people change their lives. And it's our goal, Nick and I, you know, to create something that's beyond what's available at the moment, beyond what change works out there at the moment. That's my end goal. It's what I feel into. And obviously, for me, when I think about how much fun it's going to be, you know, I see Nick by my side. I see Nick and I doing this work. How much better, what more in motivation I need to experience that? And I think for all of us, if you think, you know, how do you want to feel? What are you doing this for? Ask that question. Why am I doing this? What am I working for? Why am I acting in this way? What is your outcome? And for a goal to be absolutely achievable, it also has to be ecological, if you want, in as much as it enhances other people's lives. If whatever you're planning to do, whatever you're doing in your life, if that also enhances other people's lives, then that goal is going to be miles more achievable. And if you link that goal with a powerful emotion, whether it's love, whatever that powerful emotion would be, and hold the absolute belief that it's possible, then you'll find yourself moving towards it easily and effortlessly without even thinking or trying, because everything about you, and remember, your infinite intelligence that you have within you is not just achieved from the things you've learned in your lifetime. And I'm not talking about past lives, but I'm talking about all of your ancestors and all of their experiences and all of the things they've learned, all of the skills they've had. Think about, you only have to go back a few generations before you see a team of people behind you that created you. And then you've got to think about all of that learning, all somehow coming down through your genetics. And when you tap into what I call infinite intelligence by letting go of your limitations, all of that information becomes available to you. And those are the moments of creative genius. You know, Peter had one the other day after our call. The moments when you just think, that was brilliant. Where'd that come from? I'm sure you've had those moments. Maybe in the therapy room where you say something that you know is just genius, and you think, where did that come from? You know, it wasn't it hasn't come from you. It's come from outside of yourselves, and that's what I'm talking about. And I believe that's what hypnosis enables us to do. It enables us to let go of our normal limitations and tap into that creative genius that you all have within you, and tap into that infinite intelligence, which is thousands of years of your genetics and learned behaviors and learned skills that have come down to make you who you are today, providing we open ourselves up to that learning, and also silencing that negative voice in your head. Because, you know, the way Nick described it earlier, you know, people are looking at, and you're thinking that they think I'm something I'm not, in a good way. You know, they look at you, think that they think that you are more than you think you are. Let's put it that way. And you have to see things from other people's eyes. I always say, if we look in the mirror, we will see everything that's wrong with us. And that's not how other people see us. You know, we'll see every little line, every gray hair that's started to come through, you know, everything that we would say is wrong with us. But that's not how other people perceive us. And once we understand it, when someone says to you and pays you, you know, an absolute compliment, not flattery, but says something, to accept it and to say, okay, well, I'll accept that for that person, that's true. You know when someone's just trying to flatter you, you know when someone's trying to sell you something, and you also know when someone's being absolutely honest. You know, I remember this story about this this girl who she thought herself plain. You know, she didn't think she was very beautiful, didn't think she was very attractive, and she'd gone through her life like that. But she had a friend who was an artist, a painter, and she truly believed, because it was true, that her artist friend knew what beautiful things were because she painted them, and she could create beautiful experiences. And then one day she was sitting having lunch with her artist friend, and they were just outside a cafe somewhere in a city. And there were all, you know, this in this person's mind, there are all these beautiful, incredible people walking around. And she said to her friend, who was the artist, she said, you know, there's so many incredible people, so many beautiful women, and, you know, handsome men and beautiful people, you know, in the world. And her artist friend, as she was eating, she just said, I think you're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen, and carried on eating as if it was nothing. It wasn't flattery. It was just a statement in her mind of fact. But that statement given in that way from that person's heart, it wasn't flattery. She just said, I think you're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. She couldn't put that out of her mind. She could never look at herself in the same way. Do you understand what I'm saying? So when someone says to you, you know, I think you're great, Georgia. You know, I think you're incredible, Samantha. Or, you know, I think you're a brilliant man, Chris. You know, maybe most of the time we think, we ask, why are they saying this to me? Because I don't believe that of myself. Recognize that you're never going to see what other people see in you. And if someone gives you what I call an honest, truthful comment like that, then just maybe accept that and go, well, maybe that's true about myself. You've heard me say that when we ran some training in India, and my son Anthony and I, when we go to these different countries, we have a little competition to see who can learn as much of the language as we can before we get there. And Anthony, he didn't tell me we're going to India, so he got a head start on me, right? So he started learning Hindi before he told me we were going to India. So he gave himself a head start. So I spoke to this friend, Tim Cummins in America, and I said, you know, Anthony's had this, he sneaked up on me, he's got a head start on his Hindi. He said, well, you don't need to speak Hindi. He said, because in India, most of the people speak better English than you do anyway. And it's true. He said, but what you do need is the greeting, which is namaste. So I said, well, what does it mean? He said, it means I recognize the God within you, which I think is a beautiful greeting, but I'm not a religious person at all. But if I change one letter in that, it changes to, I recognize the good within you. And if we take the time out, especially when we're working with our clients, because it's so easy to get caught up in what am I going to say here? And what's the technique? And what's the protocol I'm going to run? How am I going to use my words? If you take the time out, just a few seconds to look at your client and recognize the good within them, because we all have it, but not only to recognize it in other people, but to take the time out to recognize it within yourself and to give yourself that bit of credit. And I know it sounds a bit of a strange thing, especially for us men, to look in the mirror, to stand in front of your mirror and it takes a bit of time to do this, but I promise you, if you do it, it's the most incredible thing. Get to the point where you're in the mirror looking at yourself. So instead of you looking at yourself in the mirror, you're in the mirror looking at yourself. And then look at yourself in the same way with that open heart and open mind until you recognize the good within you. And then all of your imposter syndrome, monster, whatever you want to call it, disappears. When you recognize that you're already a whole being, you're already the most incredible creation. You're already beautiful. And I mean that about all of you. You know, Donald, Chris, all of you, Nick, you know, Peter, you're already the most beautiful people. But you've got to take the time out to give yourself and be as kind to yourself as you are to the people around you. And I know you are, because that's why you're in this business. You know, you want to help others. But so often, you know, I see this so often in my work. Women come to see me, they're maybe late 40s, 50s. Their children are grown up and gone to university. And they put on weight. And they've spent most of their young adult life making sure that their man is okay, making sure that their kids are okay, making sure they're fed properly and looked after. And somewhere along the way, they drop out the equation. They forget about their own worth, their own value. And I have to bring them back to that understanding of their true worth, their true value, and to show themselves the same kindness that they show the people around them. And that's all I'm asking all of you, to look in the mirror and recognize that you are worth looking after. You are worth being kind to. And once you put out all of those limiting voices out of your head that have made you somehow believe maybe that you're not as worthy as you should be of that comment or that compliment or that kindness, then you'll start to live the life that you truly want to live, free of all of that, because none of it is you. That's what you have to understand. Anything that is not light, love, and energy is not you. And then you can go, okay, I am going to make judgments about myself. There's the number one thing to drop. Judging yourself. Start by stopping judging other people, but stop judging yourself. And once you do that, I promise you, it's the most awesome space. Once you accept, as Nick said in his hypnosis there, that you're perfectly imperfect. You know, think about that. You are a perfect creation. You're perfectly imperfect. I might have told you this before about the Navajo Indian. They weave these incredible, beautiful rugs. They're the most intricate patterns, the most beautiful colors, and the most high quality rug you could ever buy. And they've been weaving these rugs for thousands of years. But in every one of those rugs, there's a knot, an imperfection somewhere. And they leave that knot in that rug on purpose. It'd be very hard to find, but it's there. In every one of those rugs, there's a knot, there's an imperfection. And when they're asked why they do that, the answer is the same as it's been for 2,000 years. They leave that knot, that imperfection in that rug, so the gods don't think they're trying to be God themselves. To know that it's okay to be okay. To know that you are good enough. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be yourself and trust that you're already a whole being, that you're already the most incredible creation. That's what I want you to feel. That's what I want all of you to experience tonight. To let go of those negative voices. Recognize they're not even yours. They are not your voice in your head. They have been placed there. When you hear that voice going, you're never going to achieve this. You're not any good. You'll never do it. If you hear that voice again, and I doubt you will, because I'm going to hypnotize you out of it, but you just have to listen to that voice carefully, and you'll realize it's not your voice, and it never was. But because it's going around in your head, you think it's your voice. It's not your voice. And then when you recognize that, then it becomes this. It's just someone else's opinion. And everyone has a right to an opinion, but it was never your opinion. It was someone else's opinion about you. And some of those times it's been placed in there with not in malice. You know, some people think it's kind to say, look, don't try too hard at that because you're an academic girl, but you're not very sporty, or you're a sporty boy, but you're not very academic. You know, they do it because they don't want you to be upset. It's not always done in malice. In fact, it's rarely done in malice, but any of those voices were only ever someone else's opinion. But you're going to leave this call tonight and you're going to have my voice in your head. If you ever doubt yourself again, and this is what's going to happen, you can switch off and you can go off this call now because this is what you're going to leave it today with. If you ever doubt yourself again, from today, it will be as if I'm standing right beside you with my arm around your shoulder, whispering in your ear, you are the most incredible creation. You're already a whole being. And there is nothing you cannot achieve. You set your mind to it. And you know that I believe it. You know it's true. You know, I've known some of you now for a very long time. You've been on my calls. Some I've only just met. But I know because I've seen it in so many people. I know that you can change. I know that you can achieve what you want to achieve. And once you understand that, once you have that belief, all of those limitations drop away. And all that's left then is the question, what do I want? What do I need to achieve it? And what am I willing to do to make that happen? We may come back many times. I don't know. But act as if this is it. What do you want in this lifetime? How do you want to be next week? How do you want to be next year? How do you want to be a month from now? And know that you are worthy of achieving it. And then just do it. The worst thing that can happen is you can be disappointed. The worst thing that can happen for us is to look back at whatever age it is and wish we'd done something. Wish we'd taken that opportunity. Wish we'd been just a bit braver. That's the worst thing that can happen for us. You know, I want to lay on my deathbed thinking I had to go at everything. Every opportunity, I had to go at it. I tried. I did my utmost. Some years ago, there was a little competition. What would you like on your gravestone? What would your epitaph be? Is that the right word? On your gravestone. This is what I want on my gravestone. And if you remember, and anyone says, what should we write on Freddie's gravestone? This is what I want on my gravestone, all right? Lived it, loved it. That's what on my gravestone. Just enjoy every day, every moment. But you can do that once you let go of any of those limitations. You're going to do it tonight, all right? Get into this with me.
Freddie, before you get started, I want to leave them with one maybe intention going into this. So I'm taking this this law and contracts course right now, and we enter into all of these contracts. Some of them are legal, some of them are interrelationship tacit agreements. And you can enter into a contract by simply not speaking up sometimes. And so when somebody places a limitation on you and you don't object to it, either in your mind or out loud, it's almost like you're tacitly agreeing, you're consenting to contract with them. And so this process that Freddie's going to take you through, I want you to think about this as ending any contracts that people have placed on you and freeing yourself from them. And imagine yourself speaking up and saying, oh, that limitation that was placed on me by my mom or my friend or my coach, you know what? I'm going to cancel that contract now. I'm going to move on from that. And it happens in business and it happens in life as we unknowingly and tacitly agree to those limitations. And most people never dig it up. They never look at it, but you're here and you're finding those and you're aware of, oh, maybe I did tacitly agree to this and now I'm ready to end that contract. I'm ready to let that voice go forever. So with that, I think Freddie's ready to help you end some of those old contracts that had limited you up until now.
And on that kind of note, Nick, it's the same as how many of you check your bank account to see those little memberships you took out, the iTunes membership and or whatever it was, I don't know, those things you think, oh, it's only £6, I'll do that, or it's only £3, I'll do that, and then they just keep running. And I think it's the same with these contracts that Nick's talking about, things that we allowed ourselves to just accept without speaking up. And I think tonight when we do our hypnosis, I want you to think about all of those things that are just running in the background you no longer need, they're no longer serving you, and just go, okay, let's delete that, let's cancel that contract and live how we want to live. And if you're all ready to do this, yes, are there any questions before we get into this? All ready, yeah? Okay, Diana's back from her first time, so she's just about to go back. She's getting ready. Look, she got a cushion ready. She can't wait to go back into that state of bliss. All right, what I'd like for you all then is get yourself comfortable. Make sure you're in a safe place. And all you have to do is absolutely nothing. Listen to me if you want, but I don't mean this rudely. I'm not interested in your conscious mind. Your unconscious mind will hear everything I've got to say, and it will take from it what's needed for you to free yourself from those contracts that Nick's talking about, that no longer serve you, no longer benefit your life. So you can move into this next phase of your life, whatever that might be, free of the past, free of the future, free to be. Ready? Take a breath in, hold it for a moment, and as you breathe out, just go into that space of hypnosis. You all know how to do this now. Get a sense of that happening, remembering those other experiences of hypnosis you've had with me and Nick. Remembering the words and the sounds, how it felt as you've drifted into that beautiful space. Just for a while, nobody wants anything, no one expects anything, and there is nothing for you to do but to listen to my voice. I'm going to say some words, and I want you to repeat these words to yourself and aim them at yourself. And even if at first you don't experience it, continue to repeat these words to yourself, and then you will. So get ready. As I say these words, repeat them to yourself silently and aim them at yourself. My mind and body are completely calm and relaxed. My mind and body are completely calm and relaxed. My right arm is heavy and relaxed. My right arm is heavy and relaxed. My right arm is heavy and relaxed. My mind and body are completely calm and relaxed. My left arm is heavy and relaxed. My left arm is heavy and relaxed. My left arm is heavy and relaxed. My mind and body are completely calm and relaxed. My right leg is heavy and relaxed. My right leg is heavy and relaxed. My right leg is heavy and relaxed. My mind and body are completely calm and relaxed. My left leg is heavy and relaxed. My left leg is heavy and relaxed. My left leg is heavy and relaxed. My mind and body are completely calm and relaxed. My mind and body are completely calm and relaxed. And now as you drift deeper and deeper into hypnosis, free of all earthly ties, less and less aware of yourself as a physical being, but totally aware of yourself as a mind. And that mind drifts without boundaries, without borders, without limits. Get a sense of drifting deeper and deeper into that profound state of hypnosis. Imagine it's happening and there's nothing you can do about that. Just for a while, nothing bothers or affects you, nothing disturbs you. All that matters is you, the sound of my voice, and freedom from every limitation that was ever placed on you. That's right, deeper, deeper, deeper down. And just when you think you've reached the ultimate space of profound hypnosis and bliss, my voice, my words will take you 10 times deeper. Get a sense of that happening. Imagine there's nothing you can do about that. Every word I say now doubles that incredible feeling. Everything I say now is your reality. Every suggestion I give you, your mind and body will act upon at a molecular, cellular, neurological level. It's now your reality. You have a conscious mind and an unconscious mind. That unconscious mind, the back of the mind, that instinctive, intuitive part of your being that's monitoring your heartbeat. You may become aware of your heart beating. How incredible are you? That's monitoring your blood pressure, your body temperature, that's scanning the environment, keeping you safe. That part of you can continue to hear, to understand, respond to those things I might say without the need for you to do anything at all. It's so much easier for the conscious mind simply to relax and enjoy that letting go. That's right. Letting go even of the effort it takes to make the effort that it might take, to tell the exact position of arms, legs, or the entire body now that seems to drift through time and space. That wonderful free floating place of effortless relaxation and letting go. Allowing events to occur in their own time, in their own ways. You drift as a mind. And that mind drifts without boundaries, without borders, without limits. Allow yourself the pleasure of going out there into the future, feeling into that end state, the way you want to be, creating a life you absolutely want, creating the body, the health, the happiness, the career, the finances that you absolutely want. Get a sense of that now. As every limitation disappears, get a sense of being in that end state. Step into that body. Notice the way you move and the way you breathe. That feeling of freedom, that feeling of achievement. Get a sense of that now. Feel into it and ask the question, how much fun is this? How much fun can I make it? How important is it for me? Get a sense of that now, because now you know how good you're going to feel. Everything about your nature, your mind, your body is inclined toward making it happen. Every limitation gone from your mind, every negative limiting word that was ever placed on you. And from today, if you ever doubt yourself in any way, it will be as if I am standing right beside you. You'll feel my energy. You'll feel my strength and belief transferring to you. And you'll hear my voice in your mind. You are incredible. You are the most incredible creation. You are love. You are loved. You are loving. And you know that I believe it. You know it's true. And any negative voice that ever appears in your mind from today, my voice will be louder. You are love. You are loved and you are loving. You are the most incredible creation. Get a sense of that now as everything else that is not that disappears. You're already a whole being. You don't need to be anyone else. Get a sense of that now. How incredible are you? And as you drift deeper and deeper into that feeling, I want you to have the most incredible experience of liberation and freedom. Because in a moment, the essence of who you are, that intangible part of a human being, the observer, the passenger in that physical body, is going to separate out through the top of your head, out through what's known as the crown chakra. Get a sense of that happening, just drifting up out of your body through the top of your head and leaving your body in that chair for a while. And I want you to notice as you drift away from your body that the essence of who you are is ageless. It's infinite. And nothing that happens to that body in that chair can touch you, the essence of who you are. And I want you to look back at that body in that chair and maybe as if seeing your body for the first time, show it some appreciation. How incredible is your body? Your body is the most incredible creation. And get a sense of that now as you drift further and further away. Get a sense of drifting up out of that building you're in. Drifting up out of that car you're in. Drifting up into the sky. Drifting so high that you could actually look back at this beautiful planet we're living on and see that beautiful blue planet spinning through space and time. The whites of the clouds and the mountaintops, the greens of the forests and blue of the ocean. How incredibly lucky are we to have landed on this planet? Of all the planets in the known universe, how lucky are we? And as you look at the planet from way off, you may think for a moment about the 8 billion people on that planet, of which you are one unique, incredible being as you are. And I want you to notice as you think about that now, how your perspective changes. Things that had seemed overwhelming no longer have any power over you at all. Things that had seemed hard or difficult to achieve or overcome no longer have any power over you. Get a sense of that now. And in your mind's eye, get a sense of a target, like an archery target. Maybe see the colored bands in the very center. And in the center of that target is the most incredible feeling of unconditional self-love. And in a moment, I'm going to make a sound. And as I make that sound, you'll be fired, shot like an arrow, straight through the center of that target. And as you go through the target, your mind and body will be flooded with the most incredible, wonderful feeling of unconditional self-love. And I want you to know that it's okay to experience that feeling because you are love. You are loved and you are loving. The essence of who you are is pure energy, light, and love. And anything that is not that is not you. You are love, you are loved, and you are loving. So get ready. As you hear that sound, you're going to be shot like an arrow straight through that target into a space of unconditional self-love. Get ready. And now you're in that space. Just drifting in that incredible space. Nothing bothers or affects you. Nothing disturbs you. And I want you for a moment just to allow yourself to think about the people you've helped with your words, your kindness, your love, your skill. People who are living their life differently now because of your words and kindness. I want you to think about that now. And as you feel into that feeling, notice that every doubt, every limitation, every irrational thought that ever held you back has gone. Because it cannot coexist in your mind and body with that feeling of unconditional self-love. Get a sense of that now. How incredible are you? From today, no matter how hard you try, you will never experience those doubts again. And the harder you try and remember what it felt like to doubt yourself, the further away those doubts go. My voice will always be louder than those negative voices. From today, if you ever doubt yourself, if anyone else tries to place any doubt on you, it will be as if I'm standing right beside you, my arm around your shoulder. You'll feel my energy, you'll feel my strength and my belief about you. And you'll hear my voice in your mind. You are the most incredible creation. And you are love, and you are loved, and you are loving. You know that I believe it, you know it's true. Every limitation gone from your mind and body. Imagine that's happened, and there's nothing you can do about it. You know, it's easy to forget. We put our keys down, we forget where we put them. It's easy to forget. I don't know, it'll be a minute from now, an hour from now, maybe 30 years from now, when you suddenly realize you've been thinking about something else entirely, and every doubt that ever held you back disappeared right here, right now, replaced by a new understanding of just how incredible you are. So as you drift in that space, it may be interesting to know that in that relaxed, drifting state of mind, where those thoughts drift by like dreams, some enter the mind, some drift through the mind, some are left behind to be used later on. Others are remembered or seem to be remembered at first, but then become more and more distant, forgotten over time. And this entire experience may seem so far away as the unconscious mind protects the conscious mind and leaves those things behind, forgotten, but remembered too. And time changes too. So you'll know what a trance it's been. When you begin to know that what seemed to be a short time turned out to be a long time, or what seemed a long time was really no time at all. And so as you drift in that space, it's your privilege. Go over it as often as you need to with your unconscious to know that you're free. Free of the past, free of the future, free to live in every moment and squeeze the juice out of every day. How incredible are you? Imagine that's happening now and there's nothing you can do about that. In a moment, I'm going to count to 10. Every suggestion I've given you, your mind and body will act upon. Without hesitation, it's now your reality. On 8, your eyes will open and you'll see things differently, experience life differently, with a new understanding, a clarity you may have never experienced before. When you look in the mirror, you'll see just how incredible you are. Maybe like you're looking at yourself for the very first time. You'll recognize that you're already a whole being. You're already the most perfect creation. And on 10, that feeling of freedom, that new understanding is going to grow stronger day by day as you continue to create the life you truly want. So get ready as I count to 10. Every suggestion I've given you is now your reality. 1, feeling absolutely wonderful. 2, to create the life you want and do it fearlessly. Free of the past, free of the future. 3, a feeling of freedom from every negative voice that ever held you back. The harder you try to remember what they sounded like, the further away they go. Imagine that's happened and there's nothing you can do about it. 4, feel the force of the energy and love flooding through your body and mind. You can feel it like a vibration, the most incredible, intense feeling of unconditional self-love. Know you're worthy of that love. 5, feeling incredibly alive now. 6, 7, 8, eyes opening, feeling absolutely incredible. 9, 10. Right, I think before we finish tonight, we're going to have to bring Diana back up to everyday wakeful awareness, as we call it.
Oh, let her sleep. No, you can bring her back.
When I teach people how to do self-hypnosis, as you know, with Nick, and I say, look, there's 2 rules when you do self-hypnosis. 1, state what you want in a positive and give yourself a time. So I've got 2 minutes on my unconscious mind to make this happen for me, or 5 minutes or 10 minutes. I say, if you don't give yourself a time, you will wake up at some point in the future. And that kind of panics people a little bit. When in the future? Is it going to be a week from now Diana wakes up? I don't know. So I think before we leave, we're all going to just help Diana come back to everyday wakeful awareness. So you switch your mics on, right? And on the count of 3, we're all going to say, all going to shout out Diana's name, right? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Diana. Welcome back.
I think you
Oh,
You had to get a team together tonight, Diana, to bring you out of hypnosis. It's lovely to see you. All right. But your unconscious mind heard everything we had to say, Diana, so you don't have to remember any of it. But look, I hope you all enjoyed this evening. And, you know, and unfortunately, you're going to be stuck with my voice in your head now forever. All right. But, you know, believe what I believe about you. I know how incredible you all are. And you're going to believe that now, because it's not flattery. There's no intent behind what I'm saying. It's just a belief of mine. All right. So enjoy your time. Enjoy this weekend coming up. Anyone coming to the retreat? I know Patty's there already. Are you coming, Michelle? Oh, that's great. It'd be great to see you again. All right. So anyway, whatever you're doing this weekend, enjoy it. Have a great time. And remember, you're already the most incredible creation. And put everything else that is not love, light, and energy, know that anything else is not you. And just be happy. All right. Okay. We'll see you all again later. Is there anything else you want to say, Nick, before we disappear?
No, I think I'm just assessing the bliss on everyone's face and soaking it all in and borrowing some of that energy. So no, I think it was great. And we don't have a topic for next week, so we'll have to figure something out. If anybody wants to leave a comment in the Facebook group, we can maybe accommodate. So otherwise, I'm sure we'll come up with something.
And just, I don't ask, don't ask this often, but we want to keep this group going. We want people who don't know about us to know about us. So if you're enjoying this, then if you're in groups, whatever your Facebook groups or your social groups are, let them know about it. And the other thing is, you don't have to do it, but if you could leave us a testimonial about, what you're getting from this group, that would be great. Whether it's written or whether it's a video testimony. Video testimonials are great, obviously, but anything, only if you want to, all right? But you'll feel really good if you do. And that's just a suggestion. I'm just a hypnotist.
Only if you want to feel extreme confidence and extreme joy should you leave us a video testimonial.
Right. Try not to think how good you'll feel when you leave us a video testimonial.
can I ask Freddie?
Yeah.
You said you would send your novel if we asked for it.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't received it.
Have you emailed me or private messaged me?
Private message.
All right. Okay. All right. Yeah. But you know what, Diana, I always like you to make you wait as long as possible for whatever you ask me for. Even if you're in a waiting room and you want to get in, I always make you wait till the last.
Well, of course you do.
Just
just normal.
I have to have some fun in my life. You know that, Diana.
I aim to please, Freddie.
Anyone wants my novel, just private message me and I'll send you a PDF of it. Super. And you can have a read of it. But don't judge me by it. All right. Okay. Right. Whatever you're doing, have a beautiful time. Good to see you all.
Thank you, Freddie. Thank you.
We love you all. We'll see you next week.
Freddie. Thank you, Nick.
With some of your friends, and we look forward to it.
All right. Take care.
Bye, everybody.
Have a beautiful weekend.
You too.